What is up, everybody, and welcome into the final lounge in the series, the Murray Lounge.
We're at the end.
About Jamal Murray. We're at the end, man.
I like that we were all like, "Let's bring the energy," and then you went as low as you've ever.
Yeah.
I went low. I went to the air horns. There were no air horns.
You're like, "Welcome to the
Jamal Murray Lounge."
We're gonna do this one like NPR. Today we're gonna talk about Jamal Murray.
Let's go, it's Jamal Murray, baby."
Guys, there's no way. The only place to start is to say that Jamal Murray looked like the greatest player I've ever seen in the playoffs. He's coming off an incredible heater. I don't know if that makes it hard to follow up or exciting to get started.
Hottest of heaters.
The hardest of heaters. Let's look at what he did last season. Let's look at last year's numbers. 18.5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 34.6% from three. Guys, we always look at the three-point percentage. Maybe we're boring like that, but that's what stands out to me. You know, he's always been, for all of his career, a good, not great three-point shooter. Granted, on good volume. But that's the one thing that I just look at that I go, I don't know.
Well, in the bubble, he was a more efficient Steph Curry. So there are some questions
Steph
begged
Curry,
here.
2016, 2017.
Would you say when it matters, he brings it?
Yes, that's
I would
true.
say that too.
And now you're left trying to figure out, is this guy a 34% three-point shooter or the best one of all time?
The best one of all
And I'm thinking it's probably somewhere in between.
Probably.
We didn't have the number up there, obviously, but three-point attempts goes right hand in hand with this. I think it's something a lot of people will be watching. Jamal, I think when those particular shooting numbers might be an outlier because of the bubble, but this dynamic of him stepping up and getting better when it matters most, I think that's always going to be there. So for this regular season, I would like to see him really sort of experiment with opening up that shot profile, taking more threes, even if they aren't necessarily falling, because of what it can unlock for the offense.
Yeah,
we have a whole segment on that coming up here in a
so
second. Harrison, what stands out to you about his production last year?
I mean, what he did in the regular season, it just wasn't even comparable to what he did in the bubble because everything just got up by so much. His usage, obviously his points, his efficiency. And I think he's going to be under some pressure this season to establish that the bubble wasn't that far from reality. Because I think there's a narrative out there that the shooting, the offense, just the daily life of the bubble bred better basketball, specifically offensive basketball, and better shooting than a normal regular season environment would. So I think there's some pressure on him and other guys who showed out in the bubble, like a Donovan Mitchell, to say that, that was legit.
Yeah, it is funny because the duality of our Murray experience is us seeing him almost drop 50 on the Celtics, us seeing him then follow that up with 12 points the next game, 11 points after that, then shooting back up, just sort of really all over the board. It's like you're talking about, Harrison, the fact that he was just in an environment where there was just literally nothing but basketball every day. Basketball and fishing or whatever else they were doing.
He wasn't doing fishing. He was napping. I honestly wonder, does he need more naps?
He may need more naps.
He might need more
into your routine.
He said he napped 6 hours a day. That wasn't the sleep portion.
I gotta be honest,
I
feel like I would be at my best too if I was napping 6 hours a day. I may implement that.
It's so hard to nap. A 6-hour nap is basically a sleep. Come on.
But Jamal Murray, he clearly has it. There's no question Jamal Murray can.
Oh, he has it for sure.
He's got it. And, we were clamoring and calling for the ascension of Jamal Murray. We absolutely saw it. And now, you've shown you can do it. Now you show us you do it all the time.
Well, let's get Allie. Can we skip to the big question? We'll go back to the other one here for a second. Let's go to the big question here because obviously this is phrased. I don't love the way that I phrased this one. Is Bubble Murray the new Murray? Because Bubble Murray is pretty special. But here's one. There's a couple things about him. Obviously, he was a superstar, so I'm asking that. Can he be that caliber player? But also the consistency, man. He just brought it every night. And those are the two things. We've seen this. The Murray experiences like this, he was just up here the whole time.
I would say I'm still leaning more towards that's who he can be rather than that's who he is now. But, what comprised that leap was far more than just he was shooting really well. He was in great shape. He was getting to the line more. Mentally, he was as dialed in as we've ever seen him as a teammate, a leader.
Anybody has ever been.
And he's talked about that a lot. He's even in his media availability in the ramp up here in camp, he's talked about, when the time comes, we'll lock in again like that.
Right,
Almost
right.
as if like, yeah, that means you're not locked in now, which is understandable.
Right.
That's not a complaint.
I think he's turned that proverbial corner now, where the game probably looks a little slower to him. He's
That's
going to
the thing.
feel in his bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I think it's a bit unrealistic to expect Bubble Murray to just be the guy who we
course.
see
He'd be the
for
best point guard in the
72
world.
games this regular season. I mean,
the Nuggets are the number 1 seed if he is.
It's just
I-
unrealistic.
Time.
But when it comes time for the playoffs, that's who I expect Jamal Murray to be again. I expect him to be the player we saw in the bubble when it comes playoff time, when the serious basketball starts.
Eric, forget the bubble aspect. Like, will he be Bubble Murray? Just will he be? What consistency level do you expect from him this year?
I mean, that is the question, is it not? It's like
My question to you.
Yeah, that is
Literally the question I
that
just
is
asked.
that is the question of this season. Is just what of those bubble nuggets do we see in the regular season? Jokic, I mean, the same thing with him. Like, it seems like he has already upped his intensity to maybe be able to match that. Murray, I mean, granted, one preseason game didn't quite look like he was on the same level as he was in the bubble. So, take that with a complete grain of salt. Take that with an entire canister of salt.
It's a lot of salt.
It's a lot of salt. I have a hard time believing he'll be able to do it. Frankly, I think that we'll see a lot more of those outbursts, but I do think that we're going to get just sort of the ebb and flow of the Jamal Murray experience throughout the season. I just can't imagine he can play at that level throughout the entire year. It was just so. I mean, it just seems like so energy intensive too.
Oh
Just
yeah,
everything-
it took so much out of him too. Yeah.
The consistency is just the thing. I'm looking for it this year. I think he's become a better leader. I do think the game has slowed down for him. So I think there's a higher baseline for him than ever before, and that's what I expect.
Right.
Will the highs probably still ebb and flow? I think so, but I think that the is it the ebb that's low or is it the flow? Whichever the low one is.
flow out ebb, or the flow, ebb is when it goes back out toward the ocean.
The bottom of the
Flow-
ebb and flow
Peaks and
graph,
valleys
the
is,
valley.
I think,
I think the
better,
valley is going to be a
phrasing.
higher,
Yeah,
a
peaks and
higher there.
valleys is what I'm looking for.
All right, let's take a look at the over under though, because every year Jamal Murray shoots the same number of 3-pointers. It's always 5.5. He has 5.4, 5.5, and then 5.5 3 years in a row. Is this the year 6? I'm not even setting the bar that high. I'm just moving it up a half. But like I said, it's been the exact same number for 3 straight years. Eric, Murray launching him this year?
Yes, because he is going to feel internal competition with Michael Porter Jr. to be the best 3-point shooter on the team. We are going to get a lot. They're going to
Just
fly.
sneaky good take.
They're going
There
to
might
fly
be
from
something to
behind.
that.
Yeah.
Is that a problem? Like,
No,
I mean,
no. I think that's
it's a good thing?
It's
Splash
a good. I mean,
Brothers type,
the way that Jamal Murray really excelled in those playoffs was that he was just hitting dagger 3 after dagger 3 after dagger 3. He got in the groove and he just kept hitting them. And so I see a world in which he goes into that. The Nuggets have seen that that's a very successful way for them to play if he's hitting them. So I imagine they'll encourage it and he'll comply.
Yeah, I'll go over and I'll say I don't have 100% confidence in this because Nuggets have been talking about taking more threes at the beginning of every season for these last couple of years. It hasn't really happened. But with Jamal Murray, I think the fact that he shot threes at such a high clip in the bubble and is coming into the season with the confidence that, I was just incredibly efficient from 3. I know I'm a really good 3-point shooter. I just did it in the highest intensity environment. I will shoot more of them in the regular season because I can hit them. I know I can hit them. I think that leads to him taking more threes.
That was my take verbatim. So
Just I bid. Yeah. I think I'm going to go under. And I hope I'm wrong about this. But like I said, 3 years ago, 5.4. 2 years ago, 5.5. Last year, 5.5. Sometimes there's just a trend, guys. Sometimes that's who it is. So I'd love to see him get over 6. He obviously stepped that up in the bubble. But I think it's going to be 5.5 again. So I think that's who he is. He can be better, though, even at the style of play that he is. It still can be better. So I think both things can be true in this instance. Let's play a little What Are the Odds?
What are
the
the
odds? Okay, and by odds I mean percentages. What are the odds that Jamal Murray becomes an all-star this season? And I'm going to tell you guys, it's
can
tough.
we run through the list?
We can run through the list. So if we just look at the guys that we expect to be in the West as guards, Luka Doncic, I think number 1. He's going to make it. He's going to have great numbers. He's going to make it.
Absolute lock.
I think Damian Lillard is a lock because he, too, is going to have great numbers, and somebody from Portland gets in, and it's going to be him. He's popular.
Media loves Damian Lillard.
I think Steph Curry might be the next lock on this list.
He's healthy.
If he's healthy and has some numbers, like, it's Steph. I mean,
he will vote. Yeah.
Even if the Warriors suck.
Even when the Warriors suck.
If the Warriors completely suck, maybe not, but I think he's pretty much a lock. And then James Harden, the only reason he's not a higher lock is because I'm not sure he's going to be in the West. I mean, who knows? But if he's healthy, those 4 guys, I think, to me, are there any guys there that you feel are more of a lock than those ones?
Off the top of my head, no. I mean, Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell might contend for a spot as well, but in the end, that just speaks to, like, how hard this is for Jamal. You got 4 locks and then 3 guys who all have a claim to a spot.
Because there's probably one other spot open. There's probably one more, and you're looking at, if those 4 guys are locks, then you're looking at Booker, Mitchell, Ja Morant, D'Angelo Russell, Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox. Now, I think Fox, Chris Paul, D'Angelo Russell clearly behind Jamal unless something bad happens to him or something great happens for the other guys. Clearly behind. But Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, in line for good years, and
and both going to be first options for their teams as well.
So I think it's tough.
The odds are low. To answer
what was your percentage?
I would put it at 10%.
Wow, that's low.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, it's not even that. I don't think it has anything to do with whether or not he's going to be deserving of it. It's just this is another sort of political play. I mean, any awards that are part of the NBA ecosystem, like, are almost always like, the tie goes to the big name, and the big name goes to the big market, and so Jamal is going up against a lot of factors he has absolutely no control over. So I mean, it would take a remarkable season for him to get to that All-Star nod.
It would also take the Nuggets being the 1 seed probably at the time of the voting, which could be on the table, but I mean, the West is loaded this year. We know that. I do think, though, that he's got momentum. He's got momentum coming off the bubble, and his stock just of the Jamal Murray name, that's never been higher than it is right now. So I think that could help him too. I think it's a little higher, maybe like 25%.
If he comes out and has a great month, those jersey sales, the momentum towards a sneaker deal, the idea of people voting for him in an All-Star game.
Great month, though. He has to have a bubble month.
Yeah.
But
here's a question, though. Do you think he wants it? Do you think he's gunning for it, meaning changing his game to get it? And here's a caveat to it, because I think the answer would be yes in a normal world. There's no All-Star game this year. It's actually just a nomination. You don't actually get to go and do the whole thing. You just get to be named an All-Star but don't do anything. So I wonder.
That's even better, honestly. You just want, like, there's so many things in sports that where you just, like, once you make the playoffs by 1 game, then you are a playoff team versus a lottery team. Like, there's just like all these lines of demarcation. You are an All-Star versus just a regular player. Like, I guarantee he wants that on his resume, All-Star.
Yeah. I will say I think there is something to the weekend, though, because Jokic, when he first went, remember, had the time of his life, made all these friends, like, elevate your profile, these sponsors want to come in. So I do think there's something. I don't think it's completely meaningless that there won't be an All-Star game.
It's not meaningless, but I don't think that is when you're playing, in January, you're not thinking about, like, the hype weekend you're going to have. It's
in the playoffs, your name on the screen is still All-Star Jamal Murray.
All-Star. Like, once you get that All-Star, that never leaves you.
That's a good point.
I think he's motivated by all this stuff. Yeah. I think he wants the sneaker. I think he wants the All-Star deal. And that doesn't bother me, too. I don't think that's like a lack of focus. That's who Jamal is.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to be great, and that comes with greatness.
And like with Kobe, it's not fake. Like, he really does have those motivations, and he uses it to fuel him. Let's go to bold predictions. Let's take a look at bold predictions here for Jamal Murray. Oh my goodness, our final segment here of these series previews. Harrison's first. Right. Nope. Votes first.
Oh wow, I go first this time, you guys. He's going to average 8 3-point attempts per game. I think I probably wanted to put 7 in there. Got a little excited and put 8. I would say
You're feeling it.
I would say there's 0% chance he takes 8, but 7. It's bold.
You can't change it now, bro. Argue 8. It's on the card.
These graphics cannot be updated
They cannot be changed.
I'd object by saying that we've all updated our bold predictions like multiple times. But yeah, my real bold take, he's going to shoot a noticeable more threes per game.
Mm-hmm. Harrison took mine earlier. He didn't even know he was saying it, but he said it. But mine is, and it's a little bit of a downer. I think Murray's going to have a good, not great regular season. Awesome playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people are all clamoring for this bubble Murray to be sustained, and I don't think it will. I think he'll be good, floor higher. But I think it's going to be 20 points per game, right around there or less. And
we won't get a bubble Murray. We'll get a Bublé Murray. Michael Bublé.
Wow, that is your
Can we edit
worst
that
word.
out?
Ali, go ahead and cut that part out here live.
It could be a month though where we're like, this looks like the regular season Jamal Murray we're used to. You know?
Yeah.
But I do think the regular season, it could be easier. I don't know if that's the right word, but easier for Jamal Murray, just because he saw every advanced defense that he could possibly see in the playoffs, and just the level of scheming, the level of game plan defensively is not going to be nearly up to that in the regular season. So it could just be easier. It could be a less taxing regular season. Yeah.
So I love this point you made, because I'm a big believer that the playoff experience is so, like, you get more from 10 playoff games than you do 40 regular season games. Like, as a player, you grow. Yeah. And they got a ton of playoff games. And so there's a great point to that. They get into, like, the Sacramento Kings on opening night, and he's like, oh, wow, that's the defense? This is easy.
Yeah.
They just don't adjust anything all game. It's
exactly.
like, okay.
Like, wow.
Yeah, and there's also some of the idea, like you always talk about getting a player's confidence up. They just need to see the ball go through the net. Like, Jamal Murray has seen himself at his apex
really
in the
has.
NBA against
a demigod.
Imagine that dude's confidence.
Right. So he's strolling in like, I know,
Earned confidence.
I know I can do this. So it's just up to him whether or not he wants to do it. You know?
He outdueled Kawhi Leonard.
He outdueled
Donovan Mitchell.
He dueled Donovan Mitchell. He
outdueled Donovan Mitchell. I'm sorry, he outdueled him.
Okay, well.
He win the duel. Nobody looks at the guy on the floor and says he won the duel.
No, but
bullet in his belly.
His team outdueled the other guy's team.
Right.
But their duel was pretty.
All right, my bold prediction for Jamal Murray. Murray makes the All-Star team.
You want to revisit that one?
Yeah, you guys need to learn the show notes and organize everything by the show notes. But okay.
So I think there's a better chance. He's got a better chance than you guys are giving him. Just because I think Nuggets are going to be another really good regular season team. And
that's the path. The Nuggets have to be number one.
His profile, as I was just saying, is so much higher right now than it's ever been. It's not even comparable.
Jokic and Murray, the number one duo. So if they get the number one seed, everybody looks at it and goes, well, that goes to, or the number two duo. That goes to the duo. Yeah. They both get in.
Yeah.
Jamal.
It's an inside joke there.
It's an inside joke, but the people that watched that are watching this, I'm sure. So let's see. What is my bold thing? I think it's the same. He will play well enough to be an all-star, but won't be selected.
That's probably just like what's going to happen.
Bold predictions.
Very likely scenario.
Make up another bold take.
This is what I really think will happen. I think, but the bold part is that he'll play well enough to be one, which is meaning that
fair enough.
He will play at a level that, I mean, we'll all just be crowing about it.
How many points are you going to score?
I think that I said early on in this player prediction series that he will be the leading scorer of the Nuggets, and I also said that Michael Porter Jr. would be over 20 points, so he's going to be mid-20s, 25.
Whoa. That's pretty bold. Wow. That's way more bold than your bold take.
If he's scoring 25 a game, he's an all-star. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll see. I'm saying
if he is 25, he's an all-star.
That is good enough to be an all-star, but I don't have faith in the NBA system.
The mark I sort of set, like, you take that's great. It's like 22. Like, if you get up to 22, you'd feel good.
That's a big jump.
25 is
big
high.
jump.
25 is high, but he has that in him. Like, like if this was...
I don't know if he has it in him every night.
That's just it. But, I mean, we have seen out of Jamal Murray... we'll need to go back and look. What was his low point total in the bubble? Like, I mean, he was in the 20s. Basically,
he was scoring pretty well in the bubble. Yeah.
So,
but think about this is what I think about when I look at that. Also, it was Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and Jeremy Grant. Like, Jeremy Grant was the third offensive option.
He had 9 games of 21 or lower in the playoffs. 7 games under 20. So.
Yeah, but then the high points.
Then he had 50, 50, 42,
points,
40,
right?
36, 32.
He just doesn't need to do that in the regular season for the Nuggets to win, you know?
In fact, he kind of needs to not do that.
He could.
The ball needs to get popping.
Yeah. Maybe he wants to. And maybe there's something like he just becomes a more efficient scorer.
I'm so excited for Jamal Murray. I'm so excited for all these guys. I mean, Jamal Murray, not even at the top of our list, and it's funny because a guy coming off a 50-point, back to 2 50-point performances in the playoffs, you'd be so high on him, and the Nuggets just are that interesting. But this is the final one, guys. If you want to see, George Karl talks with me about Jamal Murray, what he wants out of him, what he expects.
A trade?
No. Harrison, when you got some wind chimes? People talk. Any juicy details on
There are
Jamal?
some very positive wind chimes about Jamal Murray. Some scouts see a big season coming from
It'd be
Jamal
hilarious if there was like all negative. Like, I talked to some
Right.
scouts. They said he's going to be terrible.
One scout's just like, I watched Jamal play in the bubble, and I think he's primed for a big year.
The fan vote. We got the irrational fan vote. You're going to want to check them out. But we hopefully also, this is the final one in our series. So this is the first one you're seeing. We got one on Jokic. We got one on Porter. We got one on Campazzo. Every single player on the Nuggets roster, all 17. We're
Carve out
officially
some time,
done,
baby.
We're officially done, baby.
We did it.
Yeah, baby.
Big shouts to super producer Ali behind the camera here,
And
doing
you,
all the
all
heavy
you.
lifting, and all of you for watching. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you when the season starts,
Let's go.
which is
let's
today.
Go, let's go.